Well, it's there. All right.
Okay.
Well, it's in the links thing there
Sure.
down below. I haven't had a chance to do it yet, but we'll get that going anyhow. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're live. Ha, ha. All right, good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Two Geeks Talking is an entertainment industry interview show where we interview the creative people from the comic, film, TV, movie, and video game industry. And, of course, I'm your host, Kurt Sasso. We're on whatever episode of 2015 because I've lost count and I don't care to count anymore. So there we go. Ha. Because what's a number anyhow? It's just a number. It's about
where the points don't matter.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. And of course, that wonderful voice that you hear is a voice from the past. None other than from the Webcomic Alliance. You also remember him from 1977, the comic, and the variety of co-hosts and interviews he's had in the past as well. Byron Wilkins. How you doing today, Byron?
I am doing great.
Well,
on Sunday I'm doing fine.
So you're actually awake now. That's a good.
Yes, I am.
So I'm going to have you introduce our guest of the.
Now you're going to throw it to me?
I mean, I could easily do it. I have no problem doing it myself. But if you want to do it, you know.
No, that's fine. You know, it's what's her face? No.
Please, you don't have to say it for me.
I colored her comic last chapter. It's Liz Staley from Adrastus Comic, man. How you doing, Liz?
Very good.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Eating my horse, so.
I'm gonna say I put a horse post picture up on there for you on your Facebook. You know, I love this post. It's got the horse on the laid it on the post. So I try to play with horses and My Little Pony. I know you're big into My Little Pony and all this. So.
That's very true. That's very true.
I love the poster behind you too, Liz. I love that.
We that was what the first show, I think, the first convention I did with the Adrastus, and I wasn't sure if I was going to have my banner in time. But my dad had that printed at his work.
Oh, cool.
In case I couldn't get my big vinyl banner. So now it hangs back there.
Nice. I like the Christmas tree lights, too. I did that in my basement office. I had my whole basement was lit up with Christmas lights.
Yeah. This stupid apartment is like 3/4 of the way done in the 70s wood panel. And it's dark.
Oh, I can see. Yeah, I see the panel back there. Yeah. I don't know what it was with us in the 70s and dark. We had green shag carpeting and dark brown paneling. You couldn't see crap.
Nope.
Oh, there goes your PG rating, Kurt. Sorry.
When have I actually paid attention to that anyhow?
Okay, there you go.
I'm perfectly fine.
A rating?
Yeah, really, a rating?
Yeah.
7 years of this stuff, and you figure, hey, whoever swears the most. And,
yeah. Well, there you go. That'll probably be me then.
We're just perfectly fine. But we have Liz Staley back. Of course, for those that remember Liz from past episodes and past interviews, she was last on talking about Mastering Manga Studio 5, a wonderful book there. And those that have not actually purchased it yet, why haven't you? You should have gone out last year and done it.
There it is.
Now you can still do it as well. So there. But we're back with Liz talking about Adrastus and many things in her life that have gone on, increase in technology as well as in terms of her techniques and all that stuff too. So, we'll just throw it to you here. I guess the first question we have obviously is, everyone loves Adrastus. Big Mecha Comics, Big Mecha Robots. Wow, I am really not awake today. I was Big Mecha Robots. Everyone loves that stuff. But from your last post that we see, Adrastus is on hiatus, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is kind of sad because it came, off hiatus for a week and a half, and now it's back on. I've been on. I know I've talked about on the site that I've been on antidepressants for PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. As we like to say around here, when I have PMS, I hulk out, unless I am on meds. Well, I've been on medication for a while, and I've gained a lot of weight back that I had lost before I was on the medicine. So I went, talked with my doctor, and we're actually taking me off the medicine. So I've been off for almost a week now, and the beginning of this week was terrible. Just probably the most dreadful time I have had in a very long time. And I have no buffer. Byron, please come back and color for me.
Okay.
All your stuff.
All right.
I am totally okay with that. So I have no buffer, and I was like, oh well, if I start putting the comic up on the site again, it will make me sit and work on it. But when you spend 3 days wanting to do nothing more than to crawl back into bed half hour after you've been out of the bed, you really can't get anything done. Plus, I found out last week that I now have a table at OhioCon, which I've been on the waiting list for probably 6 months.
Oh.
So I'm going to OhioCon this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
So it's like, oh no, I can't do this right now.
Well, cons are a lot of work, man. They're a lot of work. I mean, they take months sometimes to get ready for, so I can understand.
Well, and OhioCon was actually one of the best. I did it last year, and had one of the best times I've ever had at a con there because they don't allow fan art in the artist alley.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, well, you could have fan art up if it was like parody stuff. So, like my Muppet Avengers, my Little Pony Formers would all work. But it's mainly about original stuff. So we have a lot of comic artists that are going to be there. My friends who do Tamaran are going to be there. I'm going to be writing out with them again. I know that Alex Heberling is there. Just a lot of comics people come because you can actually have people get interested in what you're doing that's original instead of just looking for the next Hetalia whatever thing. So, but then that also takes out some of the prints and stuff that I take with me to most conventions. Okay. So I have to like scramble. But if anybody watching the show is going to be at OhioCon, come by. I'm at table 20. So.
Where in Ohio is it?
Columbus.
Columbus, Ohio. Okay. Okay.
Columbus Convention Center. And I'm hoping it's not going to be as cold as it was last year, because last year on Friday, by the time we got from the car into the convention center, I was afraid to take my gloves off. Because I was certain that my fingers were frostbitten and needed to be amputated. Because I think it was in the teens or the single digits, and it was snowing on Friday, and it was just awful.
Wow. So typical Canadian winter.
Well, yeah, typical day for you, Kurt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you live in the great frozen north.
Just south of Detroit, ironically.
Hey, Detroit's cold. It's just a little bit north of Chicago. So.
Oh, you central state people, go figure. So, OhioCon, that's a convention that I know, like you said, a lot of comic people in general go to. I think Al Evans goes there and all that other stuff as well too. Laura Ennis, something like that.
I think so. I didn't have time to look around last year. And I've barely had time to look at the map this year. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of really fantastic artists who come to OhioCon. So.
Nice. It's only a 6 hour. It's only a 6 hour drive from me, so it's not that far.
Yeah. I think it's about that for us too. It's about 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's a nice state there. It's 4 hours from us here, so it works out fairly well. What is it about OhioCon that keeps you coming back?
Well, like I said, last year we had such a nice time at it. Not only in terms of sales, but people would come by the table and they seemed very interested in learning about what your comic was about or your novel or whatever. They were very just interested in finding new stuff. And I actually had a lot of people say very nice things about my artwork there, and it's a really, really, really friendly convention. So I loved the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, the artist alley was no fan art. So you weren't getting beaten out by people selling posters of Zelda.
Well, that's part of the distraction I have at some, places. You go in there and 90% of the work is just, Supergirl or Superman, and not putting down those artists that do that. But when we're bringing in our original stuff, like 1977 or Adrastus or like Dawn stuff or whatever, it gets buried, below all this other stuff, and you're like, hey, come on, I worked very hard at this. It'd be easier for me to draw Superman. I could draw anything you put in front of me. What do you want? But it's not. I don't feel right selling because it's not my property. So I'm there trying to sell my property. Yet these people are making $30-40 a poster of some Superman thing, and I'm like, come off it. So I'm glad to see a con that puts their foot down on that.
Oh yeah.
And the mashups are fine. I dig that because I find some of that stuff really funny. But some of these things are just blatantly taking someone else's property and just drawing Spider-Man or whatever. And I'm like, what'd you do to it? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, they just, I like this pose from the comic. Let me copy it.
Yeah. Exactly. But anyway, so I'm glad to see that would be an attraction for me. So I'll have to go look it up. I mean, obviously it's late for me to get there, but cool.
Yeah. But it's really good, and they're pretty strict about enforcing that rule in the art alley too. So, and then of course last year I had somebody coming up and they're like, I'm looking for, I don't even remember what series it was. My default is always Hetalia because I always get asked about Hetalia stuff. And they're like, I haven't been able to find any Hetalia stuff. Can you tell me why? I'm like, if you want Hetalia stuff, you need to go downstairs to the dealer's room because Art Alley is not allowed to have fan art. And they're like, oh. And that was like the only person all weekend.
Wow.
Who even asked about anything fan art. So.
I wonder if I'm hearing that from a lot of conventions that if it's not about fan art, there's some conventions that I heard that are actually not even allowing cosplayers in, only because they want to focus on the actual creative people that are actually, tabling.
Wow, that's pretty radical. Not to have cosplayers.
Yeah. I have absolutely no issue with cosplayers unless their costume is so big it knocks over everything on my table. In fact, if anybody ever wants to come to a convention cosplaying one of my characters, I would probably die of a heart attack after hugging them. So.
I would pay them.
I know. I'd be like, hold on, I have money in the till. Here you go. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure specifically which one it was, and it was kind of new to me that I'd heard about that, but it was rather strange. But I can understand the need to say, hey, the focus isn't on these people, the focus is on the people that we actually have attending our convention. So, which is, everything's a business. It's pretty crazy. So, you said you were, I hate to kind of bring this down, but.
Sure, go ahead, Kurt. That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
just kill the mood. Yeah, just kill the mood entirely. Why don't you?
We're having such a good time.
Yeah. Damn, it has to get serious now. Go figure.
Yeah.
I guess something you mentioned in the green room before we got the show started, and it's a valid point you brought up, is the ability to talk about depression, to talk about that aspect. Being a creative person, everyone goes through it. I went through it myself for a few months, and I know everyone that has listened or watched this show has gone through it in their lifetime. Why do you feel it's necessary to talk about depression now?
Well, I've been talking about my own depression for a while, and last year at Intervention Con, I actually was on a panel with Oni about creativity and depression, where we were sharing our experiences with it, and I feel like people see people even with depression as like, oh, what is wrong with you? Just be happy. Just deal with it and be happy. And especially with me, with having the PMDD, it's when my mood swings are bad, I am literally thinking to myself, there is no logical reason for me to feel this way, but I can't stop. It's literally like I've hulked out. Yeah. And so I did this panel with Oni, and it was really nice, for one thing, because Oni is just one of the most wonderful people that I know. Yeah. And if you don't have the pleasure of knowing Oni Hertz9, you're missing out on a wonderful, wonderful human being. And then the day after we did this panel, a bunch of people came by my table and they're like, I really wanted to thank you for being so honest and so open and for doing this panel because, you know, you've really helped me. And I'm so glad that you were so brave to do that. And I'm not, you know, saying that I'm like a brave person, but I feel like, you know, I grew up in a house where my my biological father was manic depressive my entire life. You know, he would rather go take a nap than do something with the family. And my mom, you know, just everybody that I know has depression, especially creative people. And I feel like it's just something that we need to be able to talk about because so many of us go through it, and so many of us feel like we're going through it alone. And I guess I just don't want people to feel like they're going through it alone. Like I want them to know that there is help out there. There are ways that they can get help, and that they should get help if they feel like they can't take it anymore.
Absolutely agreed. Yeah. I did the same thing last August. I couldn't function in June and July last year. Just everything in my life the past 5 years just finally gathered up on me. It wasn't like last year was terrible, but it's just the 5 years before that. And finally in August I came out and said I'm going to talk about it because it does. It brings it out. And it took me to a road of you know, getting, you know, somewhat better. And it is a load to be able to say, you know, it's scary. It's scary as hell.
Oh yeah.
There are people out there that go, what's your problem? You know, why are you so upset? You know, what's the, you know, I'm like, dude, you know, yeah, be happy. Bullshit. You know, that is not going to happen. We know it's not logical. I sat here last July going, why aren't I drawing? Why aren't I looking for? I couldn't get myself out of the chair. And so I finally looked for help, and and then when I started the medicines, I couldn't draw. My creative spark just went away, and it scared the hell out of me. I mean, for about 2 months there, I thought, well, great, I'm starting to feel better, but I can't draw, you know, and it's like, and I knew I could. So I was fighting that, and I was talking to her. She put me on some different meds because, and now it's settled out a little bit, and it's like, oh, finally. But it's been like a 6-month process, and I know it's going to come back, but it's like, but you know, it's, yeah, you got to reach out, and there is a stigma to it, and I'm glad I've tried to help you. I saw you reaching out, and you know, and I was going through it, and I thought, hey, you know, and so when you said, hey, you need a colorist, I'm like, hey, I can do that. I can't do anything else, so I'll color, you know. So it's like great, and it did, you know, and it did help me because it showed that I could do something, type of thing, and it forced me.
Coloring. I love your coloring on Adrastus.
Thank you.
Good job.
I learned a lot, and I'll continue to do it. I don't have a problem. Send me a page or two. I don't give a shit, you know.
I get some done now that I'm feeling a little bit more stable. Somebody that I posted, I did this drawing recently. I'm sure you two have seen it, but I'll describe it for the viewers who haven't. I was actually, I got a good deal on a Kindle book that was called Talking to Myself.
Oh, yeah.
And fantastic book. I recommend that everybody read it because it talks about basically how you have like different character archetypes in your brain. And part of the reason why people have so many problems usually is because those character archetypes have been screaming at you for attention their entire, you know, existence, and you've been ignoring them, I mean, there's a whole chapter on the inner child, you know, which everybody, of course, who has any familiarity with psychology knows about the inner child. One of the things that it said, because the first thing it goes over are the three really big, what does it call it, intellectual characters, which are the judge, the skeptic, and the preacher. Oh, wow. I am very, very heavily judge. Like, my judge rules me. So, and one of the things that it said after, you know, at some point in time in it, was that it was very difficult for anybody to do anything when you have these flying monkeys screaming at you while you're trying to work. And that sentence just resonated with me, and I just finished, and I'll have prints of it at OhioCon and stuff. I know a couple people have said that they want. I'm actually getting anxiety talking about the picture. This is how bad this is.
Yeah.
So I drew a picture of me sitting at my Cintiq, and I have these 4 flying red evil baboons, like, just around me, and one's pulling my hair, and they're like screeching at me, because that's how I feel sometimes when I'm trying to work. And I've noticed there's kind of this opinion that goes around of me that I like have my head shoved up my own ass, and I'm like, so full of myself. But if you can hear my inner monologue, like, my judge screams at me all the time, "You suck, you have no talent," you know, da-da-da-da, and lately I've been like, I object! Because it's pretty much what you have to do.
Yeah.
So I drew that. It is actually kind of therapeutic.
Yeah, catharsis a bit.
I've been really anxious about sharing it places, because one of the monkeys have names written on their tails. And the monkey that's pulling on my hair's name is Criticism. And there is also a rumor that goes on about me that I don't take critique, which is not true. I am perfectly fine at taking critique. It is when you jump on my site and go, "You suck,"
Yeah.
and "Your anatomy is horrible," and "You need to look at color theory." If one more person tells me anything about color theory, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
Because you're not telling me anything helpful.
Right.
Now, the last person that gave me critique actually gave me useful information. So, like, I was like, there's a difference in my brain between critique and criticism, but I was so afraid putting it up that people were going to be like, "You can't take critique," which is not true.
I have learned after 58 years, almost 58 years, to ignore those assholes.
I'm trying.
It's hard. It is very, very hard because you're putting yourself out there. It's a piece of you. It's your baby. It's your creativity. It's extremely difficult. I still take it pretty hard today, but it's just like, hey. But I'm from television and arts and radio and all that, and oh my God, you do one thing, and I moved up the ranks in television pretty quickly. I was a nightly director at age 20. This is unheard of. Working for ABC, and so there was a lot of jealousy. And so I soon learned the critiques and criticisms were really jealous, and they were just trying to knock me down to make them look better.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can knock at me all you want. It's not, so pretty soon it just bounced off me and I said, yeah, whatever. And then I left the field anyway because I didn't care, but yeah, it was hard when I first got into comics because, yeah, I was still learning, I was struggling, and you get people to go, hey, your hair's wrong, this, that, and the other. And there's so many of people, though, that appreciate your work that you don't hear from. You got to remember that they're outnumbered. It's hard. I know it's hard. It's very hard to put that aside.
I'm still trying to figure out. I was actually having a talk with Techni, and the writer for Tamaran today, because that's where my horse is at her house. About like how much I should share of myself on my site, and because when I do punch the fear in the face and like share something that I'm terrified of sharing, usually I get just really nice comments and on the hiatus post where I basically was like, I tried to superwoman through this and I can't. I'm sorry. I feel like I am the worst comic creator ever because I couldn't make it through this. And there were people that commented that I've never heard from before, but that apparently have been reading Adrastus for a long time and enjoy it, and were like, we'll be here when you come back. Take care of yourself. And that I really, really appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need people like that to help out. And going back to the whole color theory aspect, I just like the fact that you're actually doing colors. I know it's an old joke between us, but still,
yes,
it's like
I do color just for you, Kurt.
See, he's the bastard that got you in trouble. It was Kurt. You can say it's Kurt's fault, not mine. There you go.
Hey, I just like the fact that from a black and white comic going into colors, and the fact that I just did that fan art of the Baked Alaska type thing, and it's color. I just like color in general.
And that's perfectly okay. Yeah. Coloring is not my favorite thing to do on the planet. And if I can outsource that to somebody,
I'm sitting here anytime. Throw it my way.
I gotta scan a whole bunch of layouts that are sitting over here.
I'm not going anywhere.
With all these layouts.
Yay! Cool.
They gotta be scanned, and I gotta ink them.
Yep. You take
and I will ink anything that you want. I love inking. I love inking.
We may be able to work something out here, because I said the other day I love penciling and I love coloring, but I hate inking because it takes me the longest. It's because I'm trying to get every line perfect. And it's like, God, just chill out and go. And so, yeah, I need to loosen up on inking. So, yeah, if I could throw at somebody, hey, we'll work something out.
Okay, work exchange. Awesome.
Your people will talk to my people. And
Speaking of
we'll do lunch.
technology,
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
You'll do lunch. Virtual lunch. There you go.
That's right.
So what are you having? Oh, yeah, that looks good. Okay.
Instagramming the pictures of lunch.
Yes.
Exactly. Speaking of things that you like and things that you don't like doing when it comes to comics, though, when it comes to it, since we last talked, you went from a tablet to a Cintiq. I mean, that's a pretty big jump when it comes to technology.
Yeah, well, I actually I bought when Adrastus started, I was drawing on a 8-year-old Wacom Graphire.
Wow.
Which, the fact that it had lasted 8 years shocked a lot of people. And I never changed the nib in that pen.
Wow.
And it still worked. Then what, for Adrastus's first birthday, I bought a Intuos.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to a Gateway tablet laptop, the one that you can like flip the screen around and fold it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Had that for a while. And then with my first advance money payment from Mastering Manga Studio, I bought a Unova 19-inch tablet monitor.
Oh, that thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which was great, but I kind of broke it. So, word of advice to all of you lovely people. The Unova monitor is great. It's great. I like the Cintiq better. But the Unova is wonderful. If you buy a monitor arm for it, make sure you have enough slack in your power cord. Because after a couple of months of having it on the monitor arm, the power cord, the connection, like I guess, I'm not real technical like this, but my father is, so he currently has the Unova and is trying to fix it.
Mm.
But the power cord, you could plug the power cord in and wiggle it around, and it was like loose on the inside. So I guess from pulling the monitor back and forth, it wiggled the connection loose, and the monitor just won't stay on.
Okay.
So the monitor stopped working, and I had nothing to do artwork on. So I had put up a GoFundMe to get a new tablet, and it overfunded by every amount of imagination I could ever have. And then with my first royalty payment from Mastering Manga Studio, which I didn't even think it was going to get into royalty payments, I was able to get the beautiful Cintiq 22.
Nice.
And lovely and beautiful. I'm petting it because my Surface is behind it right now. I love it so much. And it has enough slack in the power cord.
That was going to be my first question.
I pulled like a foot of slack out.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, I've had so much different technology.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That's good.
But I think we're gonna stick with the Cintiq. Although it was kind of funny, the website that I bought the Cintiq from, because it's a refurbished. I haven't had any issues with it. They emailed me last week, and were like, "Hey, so the Cintiq 27 is coming out. We'll give you $50 off. How many would you like to buy?"
How many? Yeah.
You are dreaming.
How many?
You work on commission because I actually don't even think my desk could handle the 27.
That's
I have
big.
to get a new desk. Because I have the glass top desk. So no, it'd probably break my desk.
Well, now that you have a huge increase in technology there, and when you decide to come back, you're still making posters. You're still drawing. You're just not drawing Adrastus technically. That's all. Well, it's all right.
Now I just need a little time to get a little buffer going, because I think I've said it on this show before. I live and die by that buffer.
Yeah, it's true.
And it was really dumb of me to try to force myself out of the funk I should have known better. If I had known that going off of the antidepressants was going to affect me that badly, never would have started the chapter back up.
Yeah.
Had no idea. Thought I was going to be Wonder Woman and just, whatever. But I had a bad reaction.
Yeah. But that is one of the faults of us self-employed people, and whether you're whether you got a full-time gig and your comics part-time, your art is still a self-employment gig. We put the world on our shoulders, and the thing we should do is not. It's like, hey, people just like, no, I got to either do something, like you said, send the coloring out, or ask for help, or just take some time back and sit back, because, your readers are going to come back. I'm Mr. Hiatus, because, I mean, my wife got sick, and it's like, holy crap. And they still come on back. And just recently, a guy said monthly, yearly, whatever, we're here. And I went, oh, that's so cool, So, yeah.
I think one of the things, too, that made me feel so bad about it is, what is the thing that people always tell, like, everyone who wants to make a webcomic? You must be on time with your updates. You must be on time with your updates. You must. Yeah. I've had that pounded in my head now for 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, oh God, everyone's going to leave me. I'm a failure.
Well, I think if we, over at the Alliance, we talk about this. If we start off, we say, it's okay, update whenever you feel like it, we'd never get started. So we have to push ourselves. We have to say, I'm going to do this 3 times a week, and get going until you can figure out, okay, this is what I really can do. And I can do a page a week, maybe, for myself, because that's just where I'm at right now. And it's like, there you go. And my people will know I'm going to put it up. And if not, I'll tell them, hey, it's going to be tomorrow, or it's going to be next week, whatever, long as they get something from me. And I usually put a post up of some crap going on, so they don't, as long as people know, they don't care.
I was honestly happiest at the pace that the comic was moving when I could do 5 days a week, because my buffer was that far out that I could actually do it.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, but I mean, I had well, there was a point in time there where I had such a buffer that before a new chapter would start, I was offering it as a PDF download if you paid like $1.
That is slick. That is a nice business model to have.
Like, not a lot of people took me up on it. But, I mean, I had that much of a buffer that it was literally a chapter and a half ahead.
Wow.
And just with the way that Adrastus is, because it's the big, long-form story comic, just it felt like it flowed better and like I could get more people interested and come back to the site when it was an update every day. But just right now, I don't... And then the Manga Studio book fell in my lap, and then that was what ended that.
And that was a big job. That's a lot of work.
That was a huge job.
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
That took so much recovery. I'm one of those people that when I do something creative, it drains my energy, and it took so much recovery time to get back from this.
There it is.
But I really want to take a minute and thank everyone who has bought this, because this was a labor of love. I know I'm really, really open about how much I love Manga Studio and Manga Studio 5 especially.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that I had people coming up to me at Intervention and saying, hey, I wanted to thank you for your Manga Studio book. Like, I refer to it more than the Manga Studio manual. And I'm like, come here, let me hug you. It's actually giving out hugs,
Yeah.
And the fact that we not only covered the advance that they gave me, but now I'm into royalty payments.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, my last royalty payment bought my horse a brand new cart after I crashed my old one in October.
Well, that's cool. Yay.
Yeah. I just used
not the crashing, but the new one.
No, the crashing the old one was bad.
Yeah.
It was very bad. That was actually really, really scary.
Oh, I'm sure.
Note to self, do not let Liz drive me in a horse-drawn carriage.
In my defense, I've been driving her for like a year and a half before the cart crash.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know if it was my fault that the cart crashed, actually. I'm not entirely sure what happened.
When I was younger on the farm, we had horse. My grandfather had horses, and my dad was behind a cart like that, and something broke, and he got drugged because the horse got spooked and took off. And he's trying, of course, Mr. Macho, he's trying to whoa the horses up, so he's getting pulled down the gravel road. It's like, Dad, let go. But anyway, And so there's pictures of me on quarter horses and Shetland ponies, and I had a pony take me through a fence one time, just said, I'm done, and just threw me into the fence. So.
I'm really lucky that my horse didn't spook.
Yeah.
It just goes to show she is the Mercedes-Benz of cart horses. Like, I mean, she's been doing this since she was 2.
Oh, wow.
And she's 17, going to be 18, so she's been doing it a really long time.
Wow.
And, like I said, I don't know what happened. We were in the field. It was a lovely autumn day. We went through the cart ride. And I had her going in a canter, and I was turning her in a circle because I was working on her neck flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I turned the circle too tight, too fast, or if we hit a gopher hole, or if the horse slipped on something.
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened, but all of a sudden the cart just went,
oh, wow.
And just both the wooden shafts just snapped in two. It dumped me out onto the ground. I, like, flew. Like, remember, children, if you're doing stuff with horses, always wear a helmet.
Yeah.
Had a helmet on, and I actually hit the ground with my helmet.
Ooh.
And I had a cut above my eyebrow from where the helmet put. Right. But it could have been a whole lot worse if I was not wearing a helmet.
Right.
So I start getting up off the ground. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I'm already freaking out. And I look over, and my horse is standing there in the harness with the pieces of broken cart attached to her. And she's staring at me like, what are you doing on the ground? We're not Why are you taking a nap, idiot? Come on. So thankfully, I mean, she watched me. I walked up to her. She was perfectly fine, didn't spook.
Cool.
We took the new cart out last Sunday. I was afraid she was going to be, like, scared of carts now. She's happy. She's so...
Good stuff there. Yeah.
I love that dorky horse. I could literally do a whole podcast talking about her.
You could easily do that here.
Like what?
Yeah, no, last time I was on a horse was it was a winter camp up in northern Michigan, and the horse was, well, let's just say it was an uncomfortable ride for me, only because the horse's belly was like larger than my leg span. So that, combined with the saddle, combined with the cold weather, I've never been on a horse since.
I hear you.
The horse I take riding lessons on is rather wide, but not so wide. And she's honestly, like, riding her bareback is the most comfy ride you will ever have. It's like sitting on a big warm couch. Awesome. She's also the laziest horse I have ever seen in my life.
So have you done any comics about the horse?
Oh, yeah.
No, but I think I should.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah, you got a whole. I see a whole series of strips here, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I did start a Tumblr blog, because I mean, it's been a very interesting ride, haha, I made a horse pun, the past 2 years with doing the horse stuff, because I've been interested in horses, of course, since I was teeny tiny. But, you know, growing up in Baltimore City, my family was poor. There's no place to ride horses. They can't afford lessons. So the couple of times I was on a horse when I was young was either at, like, the Ren Fair on, like, a pony ride, or one of my cousins owned horses while I was still little. So, you know, she'd saddle up the horse, and when we were over for Easter or whatever, throw us on the back and lead us around. So when this whole thing with Glory came up, it was just kind of random. You know, it wasn't planned. I wasn't looking for a horse. It was just the right thing, the right time. And so I started up a Tumblr blog that I've updated, like, I think twice, about, you know, like, all the things I've learned. Because, I mean, you know, I turned 30, and all of a sudden the universe just dropped horses on me. Almost literally. So, I mean, it's been really, really interesting learning all about all the horse stuff and what you have to do and you know, how to train them and stuff.
You know, I almost see this as just a single panel type strip, similar to how Rachel Dukes does her cat comics there, and just something simple and basic where it's not too crazy, but it's kind of just a simplistic version of it.
There's someone who does. I actually just found out. I usually see their stuff repinned on Pinterest. She has like really cute horse drawings, and she'll do like little comics. I just found out she has a website for all the comics. It's called The Idea of Order. I literally just found this out this morning that there was a site with all of them, so I'm going to have to like go through. But it's theideaoforder.com and all of her horse comics, and her style is so cute. I love it. But yeah, I could probably
as we type it in, yes.
Yeah,
entire darn series of comics with just like me and Glory, because Glory is, she's so weird. My nickname for her is Rat Face. It's like the weirdest horse, but if you have her trust and she knows you, she will give you the world. It's just getting there with her.
That's pretty true with people, isn't it?
Yeah, except that she's 800 pounds and can kill me.
Yeah.
And she won't give me the look. She tried to charge at me today when I went out and got her in the paddock. And that was, like, stupid horse! Like, you gotta kind of scream at him. And she went, woo, oh, you're crazy. Okay. I'm gonna let you put the halter on. Please don't kill me. Horses are just so weird.
Oh, good stuff. And actually, yeah, the Idea of Order, it's a nice site there. Very interesting drawings, too.
Her style is so cute. I see them on Pinterest all the time. I just didn't know that there was I didn't know she did it like as a web thing. I thought that she like worked for one of the horse magazines or. I don't know why I didn't think that it was a thing that I could look up, but.
I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. I'd love to see you just even a doodle here and there with it would be interesting, therapeutic too, because it sounds like you're having a blast with it, and it's always good to have a hobby outside of comics. Yeah.
I was so mad when I didn't have the cart because we had all these super nice autumn days. It would have been so beautiful to have my cart. Grab my little cart. Broke the cart. But now I have a new cart, and it's a better cart.
That's
much better cart.
This spring, you'll get use of it.
Oh, yeah. There will be lots of use of the cart this spring.
What's the game plan then for the rest of the year, if you have one?
Well, I mean, I actually do have like a bunch of goals for a bunch of different areas of my life for 2015, which is interesting because I don't normally set goals. And kind of the goal right now is get back to where I can work on Adrastus. I want to actually do a Kickstarter for Book 3 and Book 4 both combined, because apparently I laid out Book 3. I don't know when I laid out Book 3, because a friend of mine who's a graphic designer was supposed to do the book layouts for me now. And I went to send her Book 3, and I was like, what is this file? Why? I apparently laid out Book 3 already. Okay. So, I mean, I'm completely overdue on Book 3. Chapter 16 is going to be the end of Book 4. So I'm just hoping to do a combined Kickstarter for pre-orders for those. So hopefully that'll go okay. And right now my plan is for like extra content. There is a script that Kurt actually wrote for me.
Oh yes, I remember.
That I'm really, really, really excited about drawing. That I think what I'm going to do is like set some sort of stretch goal, and if we make it to the stretch goal, that script will be all in one book, like in the end of Book 3 or whatever. But if not, it'll be split into Book 3 and Book 4.
A two-parter. Ooh,
two-parter.
For those of you who are curious, I had an idea for exploring the Adrastus world, what goes on kind of outside of the stuff that's important enough for Michael's government agency, Sector 7, to really look into. So there are these two brothers who ride around in a car and investigate this stuff that goes on, and the car transforms into a power suit robot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So it's like Supernatural Sam and Dean Winchester, but with a mecha.
Cool.
So I'm really, really excited about that. I've had a couple other story ideas with them too, like, they're investigating. Like, this is kind of their origin story, the script that Kurt wrote for me. And I've had another idea for them where, like, people's gardens are being destroyed and they find out it's miniature giant space hamsters or something, or just like stuff that's not like the Vargo, like in a whole full-scale invasion, but is like little things that somebody needs to take care of.
Yeah.
But it's not quite important enough for Sector 7. So these two are the vigilante alien hunters. I'm really excited to draw that. It's been something that we've been brewing for 2 years probably.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. It was one of those things where it's just as soon as she mentioned the brothers, and I just started pitching some ideas to her in general, and I
was like, dude, write it, go for it, let's do it.
yeah, it's like I had nothing else going on at the time. I was like, this sounds like an interesting idea. Have you thought about doing this and this? And Liz was like, yeah, go ahead, have fun. So
hopefully that Kickstarter will be up like in the first quarter of the year, hopefully.
Well, let me know. I'd love to. I'd love to help promote that as always. And
awesome. This is the first time I'm doing a Adrastus Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done a Kickstarter before. Book 1 and Book 2, I just took pre-orders, through emailing me or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really going to be the first time we're going to have a Kickstarter with a goal. So it's kind of terrifying. But hopefully we can do it. So that's kind of the plan here, and to do more conventions, of course, which I have OhioCon lined up, and then in May, the date is up on my site. There's a little one-day sci-fi show at Carlisle, Pennsylvania high school, and we went and did this last year. They collect canned goods and stuff for charity. And so it's one day, and the Sci-Fi Club puts it on. And last year they did like Star Wars trivia that you could win stuff, and Star Trek trivia, and Doctor Who, and they have vendors there. It was just a really fun time. It was a really cute little show, and last year was the first year that they did it, and I'm going back because we had a really good time at the show, and the entry fee was like 10 canned goods.
Oh wow!
Oh well, that's actually like $10 for a table, and it's going towards charity, and kind of helping people out. And it was just really nice to meet these little high school kids and explain to them that I draw this comic. And what was really, really cool though is that when I got in, there was like a thank you card at my table. Like, oh, thank you for making our first show a success. And they had like, the kids had made this little banner to put on the front of my table with like my name on it that I actually have saved and have decorated some more. It's hanging up that way. So it was kind of just really special, and so I was like, I'd love to come back.
Yeah.
I've got those two lined up, and hopefully I'll do Intervention again if they want me back. But Intervention's like one of my favorite, probably my top 3 conventions of all time.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. I love it. I love it so much.
It's one of those. You said Intervention, right?
Yeah, Intervention.
Yeah. So that's one of the conventions I'd love to get to. I think it conflicts with another convention that I usually go to. I think it conflicts with Fan Expo or something like that.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I know that they moved the date a couple of times. It used to be in October, because I remember it like conflicting with Anime USA, and I just decided to jump ship and go to Intervention. And no, the one year AUSA conflicted with Small Press Expo. I've been to Small Press Expo too, and I'd like to go back to that one.
I think it's one of those things where she's been running it for 5 years now. Oni and Hartnell, I should say, both of them.
Yeah.
And great job. They have Regeneration Who, which is I think going to be a huge success as well too for those Doctor Who fans. So, but we'll see. Any other questions, Byron, or have I missed anything?
No, you've covered it. Yeah. You brought the show down, and then we brought it back up. We've covered it. Comic, depression, horses. We got it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I won't bring it down a third time.
No, I'm just two or three conventions. I think is a good level. Where you're at because you're doing it yourself. It's hard. I don't know how Dawn and Chris Flick do like 10 or 11 cons. That's insane. It's insane.
I've always said that if I had like unlimited amounts of money, I would just go to conventions.
Yeah.
But it's really, especially when they're like back to back. I'm sure we'll end up attending Gen Con again, and like Gen Con butts up, I think, with Intervention. Like Gen Con and then Intervention. It's like, oh my god. So as soon as you get back from Gen Con, you have to get ready to table at Intervention.
Yeah, it's a mess.
or the creative people like Daniel Crosetto that does like 24 shows, or
I mean, jeez, that's insane.
Jenny Breeden, I mean.
Yeah, Jenny Breeden. I know she came to Intervention a couple of times, and I was like, hearing how many shows she does, I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, go figure. Well, I guess then I hate to say it, that I guess that wraps up this episode of Two Geeks Talking. For those that don't know where they can find all of your stuff on the social medias and the interwebs and all of that jazz, where can they find your work, Liz?
Uh-oh, she disappeared?
No, she's there.
Okay, our router is in the process of dying.
Oh, okay.
Every once in a while, it just likes to throw you off the Wi-Fi. We're looking for a new router.
I hear that.
I guess I was saying, where can we find your site and yourself on the social medias?
You can find Adrastus at adrastuscomic.com, and that is also my Twitter and Tumblr. There is a Facebook page for Adrastus. It gets updated, I think, when the site gets updated. Awesome. And you can find me on DeviantArt at Liz Staley. Geez, what else do I have? I know I got a Google Plus page. I don't even remember what the address of that is. Twitter and Tumblr are my big two.
Okay.
So
good.
I'm usually on there.
And of course, Byron, a wonderful co-host as always there.
No problem.
Where can we find some of your stuff, and what's coming up with Webcomic Alliance as well?
We are basically we're doing one article, and we're doing Webcomic Wednesdays. So every Wednesday the site updates because we have a ton of stuff out there. We just passed the 4-year mark, and so we just
smart aleck comment that I bit back.
And that's what you can pay. I can take it. It's cool.
I was about to be like, well, coming up on Webcomic Alliance, we're going to have Liz Staley on.
Oh. Hey, we're doing more guests this year in our chat podcast. Just had Lucas Turnbloom on, so we'll have you on. And so every Wednesday the site updates, and we do 2 podcasts a month and 2 articles. And then, of course, 1977, the comic will return February 5th on my birthday, 58th birthday. So that's about 2 weeks from now. So
congrats, old fart.
Yeah. And they're going to be, it's a
February.
crossover. Oops.
I said I keep forgetting that your birthday is in February, just like mine.
Yeah. Hey. That's why we get along. And we're both Aquarians and all that. But the first storyline is going to be called Hemp Island. The gang gets crash landed on a desert island, or not a Pacific island, and they find wild hemp growing. So you can imagine what goes on. So anyway.
Good stuff. Well, I can't wait to see what's in store for both you and Liz.
Wait, Brian, are you going to be drawing lots and lots of leaves?
Yes, I'll be drawing lots and lots of leaves again. and I know how I learned how to draw those.
Poor Byron had to color all these leaves.
Trees and ground. It's like, yeah, you couldn't be inside a robot. No. We'd be out in the forest. Thank you.
Well, if you come back to color chapter 16, it only is partially.
There you go. Okay.
Like halfway through, it switches. So.
Yay! I've gotten good at it now. I don't care. Bring it on. You know.
I had to teach Byron how to set a layer to multiply.
Oh, come on. You know, I'm an old guy. I don't know these things. She's like, set it to multiply. What?
Old man.
Old man, yes.
No, it was great. It was absolutely great working with you on that chapter.
It was fun. A lot of fun. I had a great time. Yeah, it was cool. I'd be happy to do it again.
All right, awesome. Totally a date then.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff, good stuff. All right, well, on that note, multiple leaves aside. And,
you're not even in this anymore, Kirk. Get out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Kurt. This is our podcast now.
That's right.
There's a reason why I let my guests talk all the time, because, you know, it's things like this. I could easily just leave. I could go.
Honestly, yeah, go get a beer and come back. There's no talking about it.
Whatever.
Hello,
Yeah,
Kirk. Oh, there he is.
But that segue and that tangent aside, as always, that ends this particular episode of Two Geeks Talking, of course. Thank you, Byron, as being a wonderful co-host for the 30th-ish plus time, and Liz Staley, of course, from Adrastus Comic, and color extraordinaire done by Byron in the last few chapters there. Can't wait to see what's in store that way. But you can find this episode on our YouTube channel, which is /TGT Media. You can find, well, this episode and thousands of other episodes and interviews and articles and opinions and archives from the past 7 years on our website, which is 2geekstalking, that's the word 2, not the number 2.com. Our other linkage is tgtmedia.com. And, of course, you can find myself on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything else, pretty much at Kurt Sasso right there. Yep. And the Facebook page for this is, of course, TGT Media or Two Geeks Talking, one of the two. Either way, you're going to get to me.
Just type.
Just search Kurt Sasso, and you'll find pretty much everything, and maybe some things you might not know about. But that's beside the point. Either way, thanks everyone for listening and watching. Tune in next week for another wonderful and talented creative person on our show, and I believe it's going to be a filmmaker and comedy person extraordinaire, award-winning filmmaker at that, Jacob Scrippa from That Darn Squirrel Productions. He's also creator of the web series Yo Ron, a comedy web series which is 3 episodes long. But thanks everyone for again, and thank you to Byron and Liz once more, and have a great day everyone. Thanks for listening and watching on Two Geeks Talking.